So this is the Sheffield School of Business, 5 questions with Alum. And today we are here with Cal Weinhold. Cal is a 2018 graduate of the MBA program at the Sheffield School of Business. And he is currently the media channels manager at Uncommon. Cal, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So our first question for you today is, was there a class or professor at SLU that you really feel helped you in your future career?
I think there was definitely one person that stood out, our managerial accounting professor, Jerry Amsler. I believe he was an associate professor, and I'm not sure how frequently he teaches that class, but he was kind of that real world entrepreneur that owned several businesses, was really involved in the community. And so when he came to class, he wasn't just regurgitating what was in a textbook that someone else had written years ago. It was, this is a thing that I used in my company yesterday, and let's talk about it. And so that was a really impactful sort of instruction because everything he taught was real world. And because of involvement in the community as well, for me specifically, he really inspired me for servant leadership, getting involved with nonprofits, getting involved with the community. And he was just really overall inspiring sort of professor.
That's great. And then kind of going into your role right now at Uncommon, how do you manage your work-life balance?
It's definitely a tricky thing, especially in the world that we're in now. We're very virtual, reading a lot of content about people working extra hours, working on the weekends, and never being able to detach. And a couple of the things that have been successful for me are kind of trying to know what your limits are. Some days you have to work hard. Some days you have to work a little extra, and there might be that project that you have to push on, but that shouldn't always be the norm. And knowing when enough is enough and saying, hey, I've got to disconnect, and 8 hours is my 8 hours. And one of the things that I do is actually, physically leaving the office, so to speak, like we used to, but collapsing the laptop, unplugging your outlets, your monitors, putting the computer away in your computer bag and somewhere else, making it more difficult for you to sign back on has been something that to keep me from working, an excessive amount of time when it might not be completely necessary.
And then how do you deal, kind of going off that, how do you deal with professional setbacks, whether that's within your organization that you're currently in, whether that's personal? How do you deal with those and how do you overcome them?
One of the personal mottos that I have in my career is that failure is a phoenix. And so if you fail, it's actually that learning point. It's where you can grow. And if you crash and burn, that actually might be the most beneficial time for you to figure out how to improve and where to go next. Success is great, but it actually isn't the failure that you're going to end up learning more about yourself and learning more about what you can do as a professional. So that would be my advice is setbacks aren't fun, but if you take a minute and reflect, they actually could be pretty beneficial.
And then what is one thing that you miss most about SLU and what you did during your time at the MBA program?
I think the cool thing with the MBA program is you're in this kind of powder keg, this high pressure situation where you're learning a lot very quickly and you're all working towards the same end goal of the MBA, but everyone else is bringing a lot of diverse professional expertise, whether you're coming in from a marketing perspective like myself, data, finance, and then you've got the dual degree folks with the MHA, the law folks. We had one in my class that was going for a master's of education, a couple of doctors. And so everyone's working on the same projects and tackling the same complex business, opportunities and challenges, but coming from a completely different area. And that's what I miss the most is that diverse professional experience and expertise that my classmates had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then it's getting close to time where students are going to be graduating and looking for their first job and their first career path. What advice would you have for graduating students who are about to enter the job market?
One of the main things that I would tell students is you're going to learn a lot and you're going to have a high level amount of skills in your toolbox to bring to a new employer. So be confident in your capability because you've got the skills to do it, but be humble in your delivery, especially for folks that might be coming out of a graduate program and coming straight from an undergraduate program where you might not have years of professional experience. It's not a bad thing, of course, but just remember that an employer is going to have to see what you can do for a little while before they're going to give you the exact opportunities that that you're going to be able to to have impact on. So humble in your delivery, but confident in your capability is one thing I always say. Another thing that I would tell outgoing students is try and identify that I hate to say one factor, but the most important factor in a business that is going to attract you, because especially in the world of business and the education that you get at SLU, your options are going to be numerous, whether it be geographically, industry-wise, or whatever you might be able to go into in the world of business. And so it can be overwhelming with the amount of options that you actually have. And so try and pinpoint what that might be, whether it would be company culture or the location, right? If you're looking for a specific city to work in or a specific industry, try and identify the thing that's really going to be most important to you. And that really helped me in finding where I was going to find a home after I graduated.
Yeah, that's great advice. And we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to give some words of wisdom to us at the Shape It School of Business.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. Appreciate the time.